Welcome to the JB Preview Show.
Round 6, Monaco, Monte Carlo.
The Monaco Grand Prix is one of the most prestige events in the motorsport calendar, and it's also the jewel in the crown on the Formula 1 calendar. We love this event. Everybody looks forward to this event. Once that calendar comes out, it's like, right, that's the day of the Monaco Grand Prix. Let's book our tickets in. And to make this weekend even more special, guys, we have an F1 legend returning to the Monaco Grand Prix and also the Formula 1 as well. But is this a one-off? Or will it be for good? More on that as the episode goes on. So as always, as we always start the previews, we are going to go into our predictions. Now, last race's predictions, I nearly got it right. Because I predicted Vettel, Hamilton and Ricciardo. It was, however, Hamilton, Vettel and Ricciardo. Now, I did predict Ricciardo to finish P3 in a way that I thought Red Bull would actually pick up the pace. However, I was wrong because Bottas and Raikkonen retired. So I guess that was quite good. And also as well, for those who are hyping up this Red Bull package that was going to happen, you know, you went from 1 minute 10 seconds behind the Mercedes to 1 minute. So progress, I guess, you know. But you know, who am I to say? So obviously, I'm going to start off with predictions for the Monaco Grand Prix, and I'm going to go backwards this time. I'm going to go P3, Sergio Perez. Now, probably raising a few eyebrows, but you're probably thinking, hang on, I like where you're going to go with this. Yes, I like the eyebrows there. Because obviously last season, Sergio Perez finished on the podium for the first time in 2016. And it sparked, many rumours. Oh, he's going to go to Ferrari, he's going to go here, he's going to go there. He had a really good start to the season. Now, this season, I would say it's been a tremendous start. Not only for Sergio Perez, but for Force India in general. We are going to talk about Esteban Ocon, later on in the episode. But at the moment, it's Sergio Perez. Now, he's due a podium, I would say, because he's gone 15 races in the points consecutively. Brilliant result, right? I think he's the only guy. I think is it the only. I've seen a stat where he's the only. No, sorry, Force India are the only team to have both cars in the points in every single race so far. No one else has done that. That's a brilliant stat. That for a team who's not really challenging for any wins or any championships or anything like that. That's a tremendous stat and just proves the progress that Force India are doing this season. And I think Monaco is the time to shine because it is going to be literally impossible to overtake. It's hard to overtake anyways, but now with the 2017 cars, wider cars, very hard to follow, very hard to overtake. I think it's going to be iron impossible to actually overtake. The only time you're going to overtake is either if you do Daniel Ricciardo 2016 pit stop, or if you crash, one of the two, or if you do Max Verstappen. So it's going to be Red Bull themed if you want to finish any higher than your starting position on the grid. In second place, I've gone with a Ferrari of Sebastian Vettel. Now, on the podium, every single race, brilliant form by Sebastian Vettel. Best start since 2011, and I think it's only going to get better. The only time I think will stop Sebastian Vettel being finished on the podium is if he crashes. That's the only thing. I think his car is so reliable. I can't see it failing anytime soon. You know, he's getting all these new parts. Like, there was a very big speculation about this new I think it was a clutch control system or starting control system that they had for Spain, where Sebastian Vettel had this new system on. Obviously, we've seen how effective that was. A brilliant start by Sebastian Vettel. Got slow, ended up being ahead of the Mercedes into turn 1. Raikkonen didn't have it, and obviously kind of fell back because of that. And obviously, I believe, obviously I don't know at time of recording, I don't know if Ferrari are going to give Raikkonen this device. But who knows? And obviously, if Sebastian Vettel does get it, he might get a very good start if he's finished on P3, P4, who knows? But it is, as like I said, just for Sergio Perez, it is very hard to overtake at Monaco, especially in 2017. And for the race winner, of course, I've gone with Fernando Alonso. Obviously, he's not going to be there. I'm joking. Of course, Lewis Hamilton, obviously going for 3 wins at Monte Carlo. Now, he's not really going for any records in Ayrton Senna wise. However, if he does get pole position, I think he'll be 1 away from equaling Ayrton Senna, I believe, or it might be equaling Ayrton Senna's. I think he's got 64 pole positions, I think, or 63. I'm not too sure. I can't remember how much he's got. But I know he's close to the record. So I think he's either 1 away from equaling Ayrton Senna, or he equals Ayrton Senna's records, which would be amazing. And for race wins, Ayrton Senna's got 6 race wins at Monte Carlo. Lewis Hamilton currently has 2. He's going 4-3. He loves his place. Obviously, Ayrton Senna is his hero. He wants to win there, and it's his hometown as well. Hamilton lives there, and reportedly, he shares an apartment with Nico Rosberg, who this week on the subject of Nico Rosberg, he's actually going to become a dad for the 2nd time. So from the F1 Debate Show, congratulations, that's 2 Rosbergs. So obviously, in a couple of episodes ago, when we were on about one Rosberg has now 2, so that trend is now over. So obviously my predictions: third place Sergio Perez, second place Sebastian Vettel, and first place Lewis Hamilton. Lyle, what's your predictions?
Well, I mean, they're good predictions, very good. Obviously, Spain, for me, first and second were the same, obviously, for me and John. Obviously, third place was Valtteri Bottas. Unfortunately, a bad result from him, but hey, it was one of those things about Formula 1. Anyway, so let's get cracked into my top 3, and I'm going to start with third place. And third place this time is going to go to the man who I said should get third place in Spain. It's Valtteri Bottas. Basically, the reason is that I think that he is on for a very strong, consistent, haul of... He's going to be very strong. He's going to be moving forward in this season, and I like how he's going consistent. Obviously, great after Bahrain as well, great after China, great after Russia. Obviously, first race win for him, obviously, which is absolutely amazing. I definitely think he'll be keeping Mercedes' hopes alive, and a battle to Lewis Hamilton. We've just said there, obviously, there's 2 Rosbergs now. Can they get into Formula 1 and become like a second Rosberg to be battling Hamilton? But I think Bottas is definitely becoming a Rosberg kind of part 2 to be battling Lewis Hamilton. In second place, I'm going to go for the man who basically the team because before I get this started, obviously this team that the guy drives for, it is strange because even since 2014 and onwards, they haven't been dominating Formula 1 like they had done, obviously, with 4 World Championships. Every time they make a little team error like car reliability or anything like that, it is massive news, even through things like 2015, 2016, when they were just kind of like an average team. Now obviously, 2015, even 2014, 2015 being like the biggest one, when there was car reliability and things like that, it was like a massive shock. And obviously last year with the pit stop error, which was obviously highly documented, and the only time that Ricciardo didn't smile on the podium was just unbelievable. Obviously, they'll be definitely back to redeem themselves, but no, Ricciardo's obviously a very strong driver around Monaco. Obviously, he lives in Monaco like many of the drivers do. It's a home away from home, obviously away from Australia, on the good side of the hemisphere. So obviously, I'm going to say for second place is Daniel Ricciardo. And in first place, I'm going to say Sebastian Vettel. Obviously, the man who is dominating, is very consistent, has an unbelievably reliable car. Obviously, loves Monaco, does really well here. Won before here, really strong. Obviously, really strong with Red Bull as well. And yeah, he's going to extend his. He's going to get back to the World Championship and basically run away with it. Starting at this race. So that's what I think anyway. But no, I think that's a very strong finish from Sebastian Vettel, and I'm basically going to say that they're going to be on top again, and the flag will fly in Maranello again. Anyway, so they're my top 3. Obviously, Vettel in first place, Ricciardo in second, and Bottas in third. Where is Hamilton? I hear you saying. Don't I hear you saying that? Where is Hamilton? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm shocked. Is he behind you maybe when you're watching this episode? I've got no idea. But anyway, no, I mean, I don't know. We kind of get on the podium, you kind of do everything you want to. So I don't know. Maybe he's had one of them parked races up and taking Roscoe for a walk. But anyway. So I've got a very strong podium in my graph. Obviously, Jordan has as well. But let's see who gets it right for Sunday's race.
Very interesting predictions, I must say, if I do say so myself. Very mixed as well. You've got 1 Mercedes, 1 Ferrari, and 1 Red Bull. And obviously, I've got 1 Ferrari, 1 Mercedes, and 1 Force India. So obviously, as ever, guys, let us know your predictions in the comment section below if you want to predict, as like I said, your top 3, your top 5, your top 10, or if you want to go all out and predict your top 20 entire finishes, retirements as well. And obviously, if you get it right, we'll give you a pat on the back. That's the best we can give you. And you'll be kicking yourself that you didn't put a bet on it as well. So, next up, Fry the Grid, the most anticipated segment in the world of Formula 1. You've seen Grill the Grid, that's going well, but come on, this is Fry the Grid. We're getting into the nitty gritty bit, and it couldn't be any tighter, more tighter than McLaren's nuts and bolts on the engines, which are loose, by the way, guys. I'm not too sure where I was going with that one. So obviously this week I'm doing Monaco. We'll be asking me some questions on the Monaco Grand Prix. How much do I know about one of the most prestige events in motorsport in general? The scores are currently Lyle's on 19.5 points and I'm on 13 points. So let's see if I can close the gap to Lyle, possibly even take the lead. Who knows, guys? You've always got just stay tuned. Let's see how it goes. So here is my Fry the Grid for Monaco. Hi guys, it's Jordan and this is my Fry the Grid for Monaco.
Question 1. Pre-Formula 1, when was the Monaco Grand Prix first held?
1929.
Correct. First point. Question 2. Who is the most successful driver at the Monaco Grand Prix circuit?
Senna. It'll be Senna.
That's correct again. 2 points. Question 3. In the 1994 Monaco Grand Prix, after the death of Roland Ratzenberg and Ayrton Senna, which iconic mark of tribute happened at the circuit?
Minute silence.
I need something more specific than that, please.
2 minute silence. Did they all gather around at the front of the grid and have a minute silence?
They did something in the race, though.
Oh, did they? Did they have a it's like a formation lap? Did they? I don't know.
I can't give you that point. I'm afraid they left the first and second grid slot free. That's what I was looking for.
That's right. Yes. Yes.
That's
right.
It was a good try though, and they did have a minute's silence.
Yes.
Question 4: Who is the most successful constructor at Monaco?
Oh bloody hell! Many teams have won their mind. I'll have to go with Ferrari.
Unfortunately, that's not correct. It's McLaren.
McLaren. Oh, obviously because obviously in the 80s and that with Senna and.
So this is a this is a lead-on question from question 4. Okay, how many times has McLaren won at Monaco?
Okay, so obviously the most successful. So let's right. I'm going to say 16.
Oh wow, that is so close. There is a win by McLaren. Do you think Jenson Button will win on Sunday, Jordan?
No.
If he did, you would be correct. It's 15. I'm sorry, it's 15.
Gutted.
Question 6. The country of Monaco is where the Monte Carlo Street Circuit is held. Yes. Formula 1 owns a country from Thursday till Sunday. But in percent, at the nearest tenth, so the nearest 10%, how much is the country taken over by the Formula 1 circuit?
20?
I'm going to give you another go at that. It's very small.
Very small. 5?
No, it didn't. No. I'll try that again. Sorry. It's a small country. Monaco is very small.
It's 10%? I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've given you 2 attempts at that. It's actually 80%.
80%? Oh,
it's
word.
80%. Monaco is only 2 kilometres from the shoreline to the French border.
Wow.
So it's 80% of the track.
Wow. Now that is a fact I did not know.
Question 7. Who won the first Formula 1 race in 1950 in Monaco?
Oh, wow. Right. I seen a stat the other day about this because when I was doing some research for our new graphics. Right, wait there. Hang on. Oh, that's a really good question, that mind. Who won the first Grand Prix? I seen it. I'm sure I seen it. I'm gonna go with Farina. Giuseppe Farina.
Unfortunately, that's not correct. It's Fangio.
Fangio! Oh man, why did I say Fangio? I'm sure I seen Fangio.
I'm sure you did.
Yeah, sure you did.
Question 8. The swimming pool chicane, the swimming pool, which is in the middle of the chicane, hence the swimming pool chicane, is known by a new name. It's been this name for about 8 years now, and it refers to sort of like a pre-race and I'll give you a clue. It's named after one of the team. I've just got one of the team names in it. It's a swimming pool.
It'll be Red Bull, isn't it? Red Bull.
Yes, I'll give you that. Yes, I'll give you that point. It's called the Red Bull Energy Station.
The Red Bull Energy Station.
Yeah, the very famous image of that was Christian Horner jumping into the pool. Yes.
That's what got me. That's what
naked.
Got me as well. And they did.
Yes.
They did the same again in 20. Well, they didn't jump in naked, but they jumped in the pool again in 2010 when Mark Webber won.
Yes.
That's what I remember. Yeah.
It's when Red Bull win. Speaking of Red Bull wins, okay, Daniel Ricciardo obviously didn't win last year's race. But there was a very, very iconic message that he said to the team afterwards. Obviously, the one on the Saturday was my beep time, that he just got pole position at Monaco, but obviously due to a pit stop error, he didn't get the race win.
Yeah.
But what was the what's if you can get the actual message, I'd be very impressed. But if you can get close to the message, what did he say to the team when they were going to congratulate him on his second place?
There's one that stands out for me. Now I don't know if you mean a full-on conversation, like a full-on proper message, or just
as a clue, it was a message to kind of end the communication to Ricciardo.
I think I know what it is. Is it save it, guys?
Yes, exactly. So what I was looking for was save it, save your breath. I don't want to hear it.
Right. Yes. Save it, guys.
And question 10: how many laps will be on Sunday?
71.
If there was a curfew on the race and they did 7 less, I could give you that point, but it's 78.
78. Oh, Brazil 71. I'm getting myself mixed up there. Brazil. Back to the studio.
So with a disappointing 4 points from Jordan, that brings his total up to 17 points. He's 2.5 points behind me. I'm leading on 19.5. But I go into the next round, round 7 in Canada. But 4 points, Jordan. How do you think you got on in Monaco?
Very disappointed, to be honest with you. You know, I had a chance to claw back the lead, you know, to scratch it back in the air, but that wasn't the case, was it? Obviously, I got off to a really good start, didn't I? 2 points from my first 2 questions, and then like McLaren's, you know, couple of years, it just went all downhill. I got a couple of good points towards the end, but you know, I had the opportunity to overtake you, and I didn't. So that's that, guys, isn't it? So obviously, make sure you stay tuned next week to see if or the next round, where you can see if Lyle can actually extend his lead or if he can make a slip up, let's say. Okay, so this is part of the video where we talk about anything to do with Formula 1. That is the whole point of our channel, obviously. Now, I'm going to throw in a driver who is going to be talked about throughout the entire of this weekend, so I'm going to do it now. I'm going to get out of the way because, quite frankly, I'm annoyed. I'm not really annoyed, but I'm just bored of this news. It's obviously the return of Jenson Button, who is returned to the grid for 1 race only. So he says, anyways. So, I mean, there has been a few speculation possibly about Jenson Button returning to Formula 1 on a full-time basis for 2018. He has, however, rejected this chance and said, look, I'm not back in 2018. I might be in for one-off events, but I'm not going to be back. However, I'm not going to take his word for it because nobody expected him to come back in 2017. So I'm saying none of it. That's what he said this week, and that's what I'm going to leave him with. So now he has been I wouldn't say criticised, but there has been a few media pundits who have basically slated at Jenson Button and said that he's not going to be bothered this weekend because it's one race, one event. You know, Jenson Button gets in the car by lap 2, crashes the wall, he's done. That's pretty much what everyone's predicting, and it's like no, because Jenson Button is still a part of McLaren. That's what people keep forgetting, right, guys? Because Jenson Button is still behind the scenes at McLaren. He's still working with the team to try and develop the car, do simulator test runs or whatever, you know, that kind of thing. So he is still a member of the team. That's why he's took so-called a year out, apparently, obviously, so he says, and then to sit back, watch everything happen and help out with the team. So now this is his biggest chance to obviously get some more laps in the car. Hopefully try and score our first point, because guys, if we don't score points this weekend, then this is officially worse than 2015, because in 2015 this is where we scored our first points of the season. So if we don't score points, then this is bad, this is awful. And if you're going off by what Stoffel Van Dorn did in Spain, then let's not go into that, shall we, because that was just awful form from Stoffel Van Dorn. But obviously this isn't about Stoffel Van Dorn, this is about the return of Jenson Button. So Lyle, how do you think Jenson Button is going to fare? Are you agreeing with some pundits? Are you saying, yes, Jenson isn't going to care? Or are you going to agree with what I'm saying and say, look, he is still part of this team. He is going to give a damn.
Yeah, of course, I mean, of course he's going to give a damn. Of course, I mean, you know, Jenson wouldn't do this if he didn't care. I mean, you know, there was nothing that was making him come back. There was nothing making him step into the car. Obviously, he's stepping into the car for a great reason, obviously, to, you know, let Fernando do IndyCar, and obviously a great man for McLaren to have in the car. Anyway, so obviously, let's get cracking into a few points that you said. So obviously, as you say, yeah, I agree with you there that he actually cares. But he says that he's not going to be in 2018. Now, the reason that I'm going to agree with you again is that I'm not taking his word for it, is because I think he's almost using this race to find out how he feels about Formula 1 again. So obviously, after he finished the 2016 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, he stepped out of the car again and he was like, right, okay, that's my career. Done with, that's my full-time Formula 1, all this pressure, this, that and the other, gone. And obviously, McLaren 2016, that's me. Done with. Obviously, then he went back and he did a few things. Obviously, yes, he's done triathlons, he's done some obviously some really great sport and achievements obviously in his pastime. Obviously, that's been shared on the BBC Sport and things like that, showing that he's just not sitting at home with his feet up doing nout. It's been obviously he's been really training hard for this event, but he's just been in the simulators and he's just been working back in the factory at Woking. So if he's going to be serious about coming back in 2018, I think he's going to decide. I think he's going to make his all-important decision at this race, because obviously, as I've just said, he's been in simulators. That might be training for Formula 1 to half the extent, if that makes sense. You've got to be in an actual Formula 1 car. That's where the experience comes from. That's why we see obviously GB2 Formula 2 drivers, as we should call them now, in FP1 sessions throughout the week, and especially the latter half of the season, if they're going to be promoted or considering a promotion to that Formula 1 team the next year, because obviously you can get so much practice out of a simulator, but only so much. You've got to put the cherry on the cake by obviously doing in the Formula 1 car. And I think he's going to, as I say, he's going to decide, does he like the car, does he like the team, is he happy in Formula 1 again, but all this pressure will have gone from him.
Yeah, I mean, surely he's had 17 years in Formula 1 and he said that he needed a break. He's been out of the game for 6 months. 6 months, 17 years, that's a massive difference. Surely he can't be thinking, I'm bored, I want to go back to Formula 1, I want back that lifestyle, after he's been saying, probably for the past, I would say, a year or two prior to the end of his Formula 1 career, whenever he's had them negotiations with Ron Dennis at the time, saying, okay, 1 more year, I'll sign the contract, okay, 1 more year and stuff, you know what I mean? It's always been that, question, will Jensen be here next season? And when he announced in 2017 that in 2016 that he's not coming back in Formula 1 for 2017, he's going to be replaced by Stoffel Van Dorn. He's going to be in a test role, sit back, relax, put his feet up, have some JB time. And like I said, surely he can't be thinking about a return to Formula 1. I mean, obviously now, 6 months prior to his last race, but obviously by the time 2018 comes around, it's going to be a year in 3 months, or a year and 4 months, or whatever. So that, again, compare that to 17 years. That's nothing. So surely he can't be missing.
Well, I mean, it was his word when he gave us that in Monza 2016, when he said that he might come back. He might get into the car and he might think, I've done my dues for this race, but I'm happy just to sit back on the back foot. And obviously JB is never a guy we've seen, as I've just said before, he's not a guy that he enjoys retirement. He doesn't. He's been doing triathlons, he's been doing all these events, around the world. He still keeps himself, in Formula 1. Obviously he's still around there, so it's almost like he doesn't want to retire, and yeah, if he's going to come back in 2018, this is going to be, this is going to be his most pivotal decision, really. Unless this happens again later on in the season, but obviously, this is his first time in the car from 2017, and he's not going to relax. I don't mean it like that way, but there's just no pressure on his shoulders. But actually, do you know what, Jordan? I've actually got a funny, I've got a funny little stat for you guys. Did you ever think Jenson Button and Felipe Massa retire in 2016? Jenson Button and Felipe Massa return in 2017. That's the thing. I mean, obviously, both drivers who said that they were going to leave at the end of last year, but obviously it's good to see them back. It's just another thing for us, and obviously it's going to be fun and else, because obviously we're going to see that British flag helmet.
Rosberg's just sitting at home going,
it's like that.
Oh, right, sorry, I took this.
It's like that mate who takes everything seriously. Okay. I can just imagine them, Jordan, in the back room, if the driver's briefing. Right, are we going to retire? Yeah, come on, let's retire. We're all going to go out of this. Okay, are you 1, 2, 3? Jenson Button and Felipe Massa, get ready to stand up. Nico Rosberg, stand up. I want to retire, Mr. Eccleston. Oh, wait, guys, what are you doing sitting down? I thought we were going to retire together. And by the way, when I said Mr. Eccleston, I meant Mr. Carey, obviously, Jim Carey. And obviously, he's like, what are you doing, guys? I want to retire as well. But, honestly, as I say, but my original thing, JB probably, he's not a guy to retire. He wants to be in Formula One. He wants to be racing again. So I think he's happy about the decision that he's getting on Sunday, that he's getting obviously for tomorrow. It's great to see him back in the car. It's great for us as well as obviously his fans, McLaren fans, British fans, because obviously we get to see number 22 back in Formula One just for one race. It's going to be really great. And just one last thing on that topic, okay? And this isn't a stupid thing to say at all means, because obviously last year, in 2016, sorry, obviously they had a bad Australia, obviously McLaren, obviously with Fernando Alonso's crash and things like that, didn't score any points. But then obviously Stoffel Van Dorn came in, JB retired, and then obviously Stoffel scored a one and only point for McLaren. So I'm thinking, right, I mean, again, this isn't a stupid thing, because obviously McLaren was struggling last season as well. What about if JB comes in and does that? Because obviously, rewind back to Bahrain, okay, Stoffel will actually have the same mindset as JB, okay? So obviously, being in McLaren, happy in his McLaren position, first time in the car for that season, the pressure isn't on him, because the pressure wasn't ever there to give, because obviously the driver who's always there, obviously at that point it was Fernando Alonso, this time it's Fernando Alonso, but obviously Fernando's somewhere else. So there was no pressure to put on his shoulders. It's almost like, okay, yes, so Stoffel last year and Jensen this year, just go out and just do your best. We want a great result, but just go and do your best. There's no pressure. So then he might think to himself, do you know what? I'm actually racing for myself here. You know what I mean? Like, I'm actually racing for nobody else. I'm only in Formula 1 for one race, so I might go out and just give it all I have. And that's what Stoffel did in 2016, got that point. So, is it stupid to say that Jensen Button might score at least 1 point for McLaren because of that lack of that no pressure on his shoulders? It really is just easy to say that, has Jensen got the same situation, Jordan, as Stoffel did in Bahrain 16? As I say, that no pressure, go hell for leather, but if I win or if I lose, no one will really kick up a fuss, especially if I lose, no one will really kick up a fuss, because obviously I was there, I did meet dues, I was actually quite good, I was quite loyal, because obviously I've replaced a driver who couldn't race. So if Jensen scores a point, do you think that is possible? Do you think that's more possible because of the situation that he's only in here for one race, and as I say, he's not their permanent driver?
If he does score a point, I think you'll get a call from Zach Brown the next day, like, Stoffel seat's available if you want to take it. You scored our points. You might score some more during the season. But no, I mean, yes, I think you're definitely right there, Lyle, by saying he will be in the same mindset as what Stoffel was, because Stoffel, one race, who cares? If I score a point, great. If I don't, well, Alonso's he's in the next race. He can probably continue on from there. He can probably try. Same with Jensen Button, he's going to come in. People, if he scores a point, oh, brilliant, I think probably the fans will overreact and go, get him back in. Jensen Button should be in a McLaren. He can score points. Stoffel can't. And yet, however, back in 2016 when Stoffel scored the point, everyone was like, get Stoffel in the car. He can score points, and everyone just settle down, everybody. But no, I think if Jensen Button doesn't score a point, if he doesn't score a point, then it's going to be like, well, it's great to have you back anyway, Jensen. It's great to see a good old face. I have a good chit chat and that. How's the wife or the girlfriend? How's it going? That type of thing. But no, I think yes, I agree with that. I think Jensen Button, no pressure whatsoever. He's going to come into Monaco. We're going to enjoy his presence. He's going to enjoy his presence, and I'm sure he'll watch the F1 debate show, because
he definitely will be.
I
mean that's not a. I just think about this more now. I think that because I think Jensen could do something like that, but obviously, nevertheless, it's great to see him in. Anyway, so the next driver that we're going to be talking about is the guy who, and he's in my predictions, so that's a little clue. And obviously, Monaco didn't work out for him, especially last year. He went. On Saturday, he left the track incredibly excited. His radio message was "my time." It really was. It was his time. And obviously, because of what happened last time, Red Bull did win in Spain, obviously youngest winner in Formula 1, but it wasn't Ricciardo, so it was his time, word for word perfect. But then obviously, his mindset changed from a massive Australian smile to a massive Australian frowny face on the podium. Obviously, Red Bull did an unbelievably terrible mistake by messing up his pit stop. Absolutely unbelievable. Something that we'll never ever see for a very long time. We'd never see, I don't think we ever. Obviously, Max Verstappen had a little one. Max Verstappen had a little one in the US Grand Prix, obviously later on in that year, but still, Monaco was massive, and obviously then he lost the lead to Lewis Hamilton, then obviously was frowning on the podium. The first time we've probably ever seen Daniel Ricciardo not smiling. And then his famous radio message, which by the way Jordan got right in Friday Grid, which obviously you guys was just savoured. Honestly, I don't want to hear what you have to say, and it really was. It was like, you have really messed up my race. this season though, it's getting off to an okay start. Obviously, out of Red Bull, and obviously Jordan said again as he started the episode, he said that they've gained probably give or take around 10 seconds on their new upgrade package. He is the leading Red Bull driver, obviously that he will want to be, because obviously he's been the leading Red Bull driver since 2015, since Sebastian Vettel left at the end of 2014. He's been the lead driver, obviously with Fiat and Verstappen underneath his wing. So he is leading obviously on 37 points, only 2 points ahead of Verstappen, but still he'll be very happy with that. And obviously his first podium last race at the Spanish Grand Prix in Catalonia. Very good obviously for him as well. Going back to Monaco, as I say, his home away from home, obviously very good for him on the very nice Monaco sunset in the backdrop on the French Riviera. Absolutely lovely for him. And basically, I mean, he'll be telling his team, get out of my way. Honestly, if you mess this race up for me, there's no going back. And at this time when they're all evaluating where they want to be, where drivers want to be, because there's loads of seats open. There could be a Mercedes seat open next year. There could be a Ferrari seat open. There could be 2 Ferrari seats open next year. I mean, in terms of transfers, just quickly, I just want to say, in terms of transfers, watch this space, because it's going to be mad for next season. The silly season is going to start very soon. But anyway, with Daniel Ricciardo,
we did say that 2018 was going to be a mental year.
But for Daniel Ricciardo, I do hope he gets a really good result. Obviously, I put him in second place, but after last year, it really was terrible for him. And John, do you think he'll still have that? Do you think he'll still be mad about what happened last year? And obviously, in terms of righting the wrong, in terms of getting Red Bull their first win since Malaysia 2016, do you think he'll want to go out and out for it at his home? It's a lot of drivers' home races. Yes, don't get me wrong, but Daniel Ricciardo, especially after that third place, he'll be on a charge. And do you think he will want to go for it now? Now, especially that Red Bull are kind of now thought to be the third team in Formula 1, if that makes sense. Obviously, Mercedes at the top, Ferrari at the top, Mercedes in second, but then kind of like creeping up to them, and then obviously Red Bull in third, which obviously wasn't the case last year. They were definitely in second place. So do you think Ricciardo will go hell for leather in this race, especially after what happened last year and where he is in the championship?
Yes, I think Daniel Ricciardo will be coming into Monaco, trying to, repair what happened last year, because quite frankly, it was just catastrophic, word of the day. Because, everybody was like so happy to see Daniel Ricciardo get his first pole position at a place like Monaco as well. What a better place to get your first ever pole position in Formula 1. Everyone had fallen in love with Daniel Ricciardo ever since his debut at the 2011 British Grand Prix in HRT. Happy smiley face, it's just continued that throughout the entire of his career up until the 2016 Monaco Grand Prix. And it was because I think what made it worse is that he could have won the Spanish Grand Prix, but Red Bull cocked up his pit stop for the first time, and then did it even worse in the second. So really, Daniel Ricciardo could have won 2. He could have won back-to-back races. That's what Ricciardo was thinking at the time, and he was like, "Oh my god, like what's going on? Like, hang on a second, like why can't I win a race? What's going on?" Yes, he won 3 before that, but still, it was like, obviously when Malaysia came right, it was like, oh, relief, thank God, finally I can win a race this season. But yeah, I think if Daniel Ricciardo does get pole position, he's going to go into his team at the team briefing and go, right, strategy team, get it right. Guys, when I call for the pit stop, I want everyone there 2 laps before I pit. All right, everybody, listen to me about it. You know exactly what he's talking about. Exactly. So yes, Daniel Ricciardo, it is going to be in the back of his mind. He probably has forgiven Red Bull now, but I don't know. There's probably a little bit thing in there where he's going, I still don't forgive it. Even probably when Lewis Hamilton probably doesn't forgive Fernando Alonso after like obliterating his Q3 lap back in Hungary 2007, and that was about 10 years ago. So nothing can change in Formula 1. Probably there's loads of probably Alan Prost doesn't forgive Ayrton Senna. Obviously, rest his soul and that. Doesn't forgive him for bloody pushing him off the track in Japan 1990. Yeah. So there's probably loads of things that are still handed out Formula 1 drivers, but that is the world of Formula 1. So that's where we're going to wrap up today's episode. Thank you very much for watching. As always, we love your presence as well. Don't forget as well to check out last week's episode, or the last debate show as well. Very good episode, if I do say so myself as well. Thank you for everyone who's watching. And 1-200.
200, wow.
1-200 subscribers.
Thank you very much.
Everyone who's subscribed. So if you do want to stick around and obviously click the subscribe button, thank you very much as well. And check out last week's episode as well. And as always, guys, we've been the F1 Debate Show.
See you later, guys.
See you later.